following audio-video presentation is based on a recent article I put out that was featured on the Jewish press. It's called GODTV, Divine or Manufactured Outrage. In the aftermath of the shocking news that the missionary GODTV station will be streaming evangelical poison into Israeli households in Hebrew, prominent religious Jews on social media jumped on their soapbox to express their outrage. The most irritating aspect is that some of the most vocal people have been in bed with evangelicals for years. Some of them even appeared on missionary television programs, including the infamous Daystar TV and Zola Levitt Ministries. These same individuals frequently interview the same types of theologically dangerous personalities on their own radio programs. The hypocrisy is astounding. Besides their personal appearances on the kinds of programs they now shriek about, many of these same religious Jews are at the forefront of today's mind-boggling alliances between religious Jews and evangelical missionaries. With this in mind, I've created a checklist, feel free to take the test, to determine if one's outrage is contrived or authentic. While admittedly it doesn't capture every nuance of the problem, I believe it is sufficient to determine one's place in this fight. Rule number 1. If you have connections, friendships, or associations with Tommy Waller's Hayovel ministry, you have nothing to say to other Jews on this matter. You are in bed with the smiling missionary who uses relational evangelism to forge friendships with Jews. You're part of the problem. The same could be said for any number of like-minded organizations on the scene today. They pop up like weeds. Rule number 2. If you are involved with one or more of the many online Torah teaching programs, the so-called yeshivas for the nations geared towards teaching Torah, in truth distorting it to evangelical missionaries, you would do well to sever such associations before masquerading as a zealous prophet. Rule number 3. If you've ever appeared on Daystar Television or Zola Levitt Ministry, yet you beat your breast about GODTV, you would do well to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you serious? Why is this ministry different from all other ministries I'm involved with? Rule number 4. If you participated in the Interfaith Tanakh study sessions in Knesset with such personages as Dr. Jim Garlow or his wife Rosemary Schindler Garlow, formerly of the Messianic Skyline Church, Israel 365's Donna Jolet, or Tommy Waller and Friends, you should cull your friends list on a social media before pretending to be a counter-missionary expert. Rule number 5. If you've attended interfaith conferences, either live or on Zoom, marched with the ICEJ, taken selfies with representatives from First Fruits of Zion or Texans for Israel, you might want to introspect before speaking on this matter. Rule number 6. If you've given guided tours to Doron Cater of the missionary front group Cry for Zion, broken bread with street missionary Jacob Dabkani, or made a l'chaim with Mike Huckabee, stop right now. You failed the test, and number 6 likely isn't your first or last infraction. Rule number 7, if you've attended one of the annual Arise business conferences hosted by Messianic advocate Caleb Myers, your view on these matters are irrelevant. You are like an obese couch potato who gives advice on how to stay fit. Have you praised Kufi's Messianic pastor Dumasani Washington for his pro-Israel activism, but ignored his Messianic church? If so, you need to get off Facebook, and do so quickly. Rule number 8. Do you share articles, or even worse, write them, for Breaking Israel News or similar media outlets? If the answer is yes, what credibility do you have? The staff may be comprised overwhelmingly of bearded, keeper-wearing Jews, but they cater to hardcore evangelicals committed to bringing the Gospels to Jews. Rule number 9. Do you socialize with Jews who make interfaith enterprises their bread and wine? You might want to reconsider such friendships. We aren't talking about reasonable halachic or hashkafic differences between Jews, which should never ever prevent Jews from having friendships with one another. This is serious business. The historically unprecedented and halachically aberrant behavior of these activists present a spiritual danger to Jews worldwide. Forget about metaphorical comparisons with corona. This is a hot virus, pardon the pun. Hot, of course, is responsible for the GODTV fiasco. We are speaking about the spiritual equivalent of Ebola. Rule number 10, do you believe that all evangelical missionaries and orgs should be outed, condemned, and banned from Israel? That all interfaith relationships and alliances, whether personal or business related, are prohibited by Torah? It should be noted that the only correct answers for questions 1 through 9 are no. Number 10 requires a yes response. Get one wrong and you failed. Shut your mouth or do tshuva. If you've answered correctly, your voice is certainly sorely needed. We are, after all, outnumbered. We are often slandered and libeled by our detractors because they hate facts. If your answers were incorrect, but you've given your own histrionic geschrei over GODTV, then the nakedness of your hypocrisy is apparent. Your contrived righteousness about GODTV is a convenient straw man. The following graphic represents a good way to stop evangelicals from infiltrating Israel. Number 1, stop having interfaith conferences. Number 2, stop having interfaith prayer sessions. Number 3, stop taking charity from them. Number 4, stop all interfaith Torah study sessions. Number 5, stop accepting evangelical volunteerism. Number 6, stop listening to self-appointed foolish leaders. And number 7, boycott companies who use evangelical labor. Do you truly care, or is your outrage manufactured?